The college football experience, Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Circa Sports. Yes, Circa Sports is back with their Circa Survivor and Circa Millions contest. $14 million is up for grabs. Get all the details at circasports.com. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, buzz, sting, 2023 season preview. And look, I mean, I'm excited to talk Yellow Jack football. I made this comment just a couple minutes ago, and hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. But college football is better when Georgia Tech's good, in my opinion. And I'm going to talk about that in a second for you. But I got to introduce, well, first, you're probably wondering who the hell I am. Look, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, AKA Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy. I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Jeff Collins era, Patty C. Pretend it never happened if you're a Yellow Jacket fan.
Certainly didn't live up to the Paul Johnson years.
You remember when he mimicked Paul Johnson? Remember that spring ball when they rode that shotgun offense and they were trying to take a shit
for no reason?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Just a couple Orange Bowl victories.
No, let's just
couple Orange Bowl victories.
I mean, can you recall another instance of that where unprovoked the coach just makes fun of the other?
Bullshit. Just absolute bullshit. Paul Johnson, incredible coach, and I hope I see him back in college football soon. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Let's get it going, buddy.
Yeah,
Let's get it going.
You know, Jeff Collins couldn't manage better than what 3-7 was his best year.
Yeah.
Brent Key in an interim situation, 4-4 right off the bat. He's 500.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Turnkey program with Brent Key.
Hello.
Perhaps.
I see what you did there.
Patty C. I mean, this is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets here. All right.
This is
the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech. You go through history. 10-time national champion, in my mind. I went through this. We know in 1990, before Georgia's past 2 national championships, Georgia Tech was the last team to win a national championship in the state of Georgia. Can Brent Key turn that key and get that program rolling again? We heard the intro with Jerry Glanville. Jerry Glanville coached for the Atlanta Falcons, but he also coached with the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets back in the day.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes, 10-time national champions. And Patty C, I can't help but think, and this is why I hate, like, sometimes on Twitter we'll get in arguments and people don't know the history of the sport.
Yeah.
So to give you a perfect example, and there was no publication, I guess, out there to do this. Georgia Tech, feel free to hit me up. We are a publication over here at SGPN, and I will gladly fill out whatever paperwork you want. But if you pull up some of these years, so let's just take 1951, for example. Try to understand 1951 for me. All right. The team that won the national championship is Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
They lose the Sugar Bowl to Maryland 28-13, right? So
they finished
10-1, 10-1, and they lost by 15 to Maryland, who, might I add, 10-0. Right. But yet Tennessee gets deemed the national champion. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Tech, who is in the same conference, the very same conference as Tennessee, but they didn't play. Georgia Tech goes 11-0-1. First off, they play way more games, but can you make any sense of this? Because, in my opinion, Maryland and Georgia Tech should be national champions. Look, I know you would think, well, Maryland doesn't have a tie, but Georgia Tech played 2 more games. So I would deem both national champions. Well, the team that I wouldn't deem national champions is the Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee, the team that lost, right? I know that at some point around that era, I mean, I think in the 40s, they were still determining the national champion prior to the bowl games. They would just call it at the end of the regular season, you're national champion. And the bowl would be essentially like what it has always been, a consolation, or not a consolation, just an exhibition, you know? And so maybe that happened here, but I thought by the 50s, it had gotten to the point where you waited till after the bowl game to name the national champion. And if that is the case, then that makes zero sense.
The very next year after that undefeated 51 season, 1952, the world deemed Michigan State national champions at 9-0. Georgia Tech went 12-0. Does this make any sense to you?
I mean, imagine that Georgia Tech, charter founding member of the SEC, back in 1933, was still in the SEC. Maybe it wasn't what it was back then. I think SEC was always a pretty darn good conference. Going 12-0 at any point in history in the SEC.
3 more games.
Yeah,
I don't understand what's going on here. Look, the national championship shit. This is what I'm saying. Like, if anyone's ever outraged at what UCF did, they're stupid, because the whole history of the sport, and I love college football, but until we get a large playoff, we can go toe to toe with teams that just, the whole history has a blemish on it, as far as I'm concerned, with crowning champions. Patty C.
I'm wondering what their unbeaten streak was. They took a 2-game win streak into the end of the season in 1950. 51, they go 11-0-1. 52, 12-0. Now I want to look at 53 here.
53, they ended up going 9-2-1.
53,
they lost at Notre Dame on October 24th.
Yeah, so they go 4-0-1 before losing to Notre Dame, the streak breaker that is Notre Dame. So what is that? A 20, 25, 26, 27 game win streak. No national championship.
No, it's just absolutely ridiculous. You can go one by one, but look, let's talk about this. Brent Key, he's the guy that's got to get back to these days. Paul Johnson had him win an Orange Bowls. George O'Leary, and Brent Key played for George O'Leary. George O'Leary had good success, but before that, he had Bobby Ross, and he won a national championship in 1990. And man, when you add those coaches together, you have like pretty good success. It just seems like Collins was the wrong hire. Can Key get them back to where they should be? And could we make this case, Patty C? Do you find it ironic that Georgia Tech being way down, and yet Georgia's winning national championships? Is there a connection?
I don't know how much Georgia Tech was dipping into the Georgia talent pool before Georgia came to be as great as they are. I mean,
they always had guys, though. I feel like, Demarius Thomas, Calvin Johnson.
You know what I think really happened is Kirby Smart started getting guys to stay in Georgia instead of going to Alabama and Florida and stuff. And he's actually going into Florida.
You say it's just a coincidence. You're saying you don't think there's any connection.
I'll tell you this: the fact that Georgia Tech's not beating them on the field, regardless on the recruiting trail. If Georgia Tech is beating them on the field, then they're not going to as many national championships, to as many playoffs. The fact that Georgia Tech is not that good right now is definitely helping Georgia.
Yeah. We're going to talk all about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. We're going to go through the offense, defense, special teams, Brent Key, transfer portal, all that good stuff. And once again, hope you're subscribed to the College Football Experience, because we're breaking out all 133 teams with a solo podcast. We do this each and every year. Subscribe to the College Football Experience, the FCS College Football Experience. We also host, so subscribe on whatever platform you get podcast at. Also the College Basketball Experience and the College Baseball Experience. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Look, but before we dive into, the 2023 roster and everything. Want to tell you we're brought to you by Circa Sports, and Circa Millions plus Circa Survivor are back, folks. $14 million in guaranteed prizes are up for grabs. Circa Millions, 5 NFL picks against the spread each week. It's absolutely fantastic. Circa Survivor, you just pick a different money line winner each and every week. You can enter in Vegas, play from anywhere. Sports Gambling Podcast crew, SGPN essentially, will be out the last weekend in August. So circasports.com for all the details. That's circasports.com. Patty C, what would you do with $14 million, huh?
I let it ride, baby.
Yeah. I can tell you this. You gotta check them out, folks. All right. So check out Circa. Get over there. Shout out to Derek Stevens, does a great job. And that place is truly like heaven. 14
million on the over. Come on.
But we got to get you out there because that thing, biggest sports book in the world. And then you have Stadium Swim. Where you can watch it from the pool. I've seen
pictures of it.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Folks, get on over there. Check it out.
If you're into luxury sports watching.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good bet.
Yeah. Circasports.com. Check it out, folks. All right. We are back on the college football experience. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 2023 season preview. And Patty C, going back to your point you briefly made before I took us off the rails with talking about 1951 here. Brent Key did do a great job. When you look back at a year ago, you say, okay, this guy comes in, he beats Pitt and Duke, who combined for what? 18 wins, I think, right?
2 huge wins. Squeaking by Duke in overtime, Pitt by 5.
Now somehow they lost to Virginia 16-9. That's almost impossible to do. And was that the game that they had a chance for the Hail Mary and the quarterback runs out of bounds?
I'm drawing a blank, but
they had a chance for the Hail Mary. They're at the 40-yard line and he just runs out of bounds.
Yeah. They're like,
he doesn't even attempt the throw. Classic play.
There's no time left.
They got worked by Florida State, but other than that Florida State game, they go to Tulane Stadium, beat the Hokies 28-27. They did get but other than Florida State and Miami beat them by 21 at Bobby Dodd.
I mean, they squeaked by every game. They didn't win a game by more than 5 points.
They beat North Carolina in Keenan Memorial.
4-4 stretch.
And I'll be honest, I think they kept it closer with Georgia than I thought they would.
Yeah.
So
that was impressive.
Can we take away anything from that?
Well, their losses against UVA is that, okay.
UVA loss is unexplanatory.
Yeah.
To me. Like that's one you should have had. But even Miami was terrible too.
Yeah, Miami wasn't that good. Against talented teams, Miami's supposed to be talented. They lose by at least 21 points.
North Carolina's more talented. North Carolina and Pitt and Duke all had winning records. They somehow won those games. You figure this team out.
That's true. Now let me look at this because on the conference talent composite, Clemson is 1, Miami's 2, North Carolina is 3, Florida State's 4, and Georgia Tech is 5. For a team that's supposedly that talented.
I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
Pitt puts out pro after pro after pro. I refuse to believe that Georgia Tech is more talented than Pitt.
Well, and then NC State's got to be a little more talented too, right?
That's what I'm saying. Get out of here with this nonsense. Yeah. So here we are in the brand new era of Brent Key, I guess first official year. There was speculation. Could they have made a splash year higher? I like them. I know they didn't. The word is that they didn't have a lot of money. Who knows? But they got a guy that seemed like the team and the fans fought for towards the end of the year. What'd you make of them retaining Brent Key?
Yeah, no, that was great. I was surprised that there was that drastic of a difference.
They almost had Fritz. He turned him down.
Yeah, that would have been a nice pickup. But if Key is able to create that quickly of a turnaround, I mean, it's like a 5-day, 7-day turnaround from the program really sucking into it being decent. Then give him a whole offseason and see what he can do.
Now, one thing I will say that you might not like, folks, if you're planning to hit Bobby Dodd, they do have one of their home games moved to Mercedes-Benz. That's tough, but we're going to get to it because, first let's talk transfer portal. It's got college football 2023. The transfer portal is absolutely fucking insane. All right. So unless you're Army, Navy, or Air Force, we have to break that down. Patty C departing. Jeff Sims is gone. No relation to Phil Sims. He has no problem saying Redskins. Look, he's now at Nebraska.
How bad does that really hurt?
I mean, he was a highly skilled. He's probably the reason why this rankings, because wasn't he like their biggest recruit?
He's like a 4 or 5 star. Yeah.
He's gone. Running back Antonio Martin is gone. Katavian Banks, who is a linebacker, is gone. Tight end Ben Postma is gone. Then we have defensive lineman KJ Miles goes to the Temple Owls. Defensive lineman Akello Stone goes to Ole Miss in the SEC, who they'll be playing on the schedule. Ouch. Defensive end Gray Carroll goes to the Flamin' Libs of Liberty. Then they also lost safety Jalen Huff. They also lost offensive lineman RJ Adams to Lackawanna Community College. Safety Jeremiah Smith, portal. Cornerback Kenny Bennett, portal. Cornerback Zamari Walton, Ole Miss. Ouch, you're playing them. Wide receiver Kalani Norris to Middle Tennessee, the Blue Raiders. Also lost wide receiver Nate McCollum to North Carolina, who you will. I think they're on the schedule. I got to double check that.
They are.
Yeah. And they also lost safety Derek Allen to North Carolina. So 2 guys so they're losing a lot of guys to teams they're playing. Offensive lineman Paula Viapulu goes to North Texas. Quarterback Tayson Fomachikon goes to UMass. Patty C.
Apparently they were going the Polynesian route.
Yes.
Over in Atlanta.
Running back Dylan McDuffie goes to the Kansas Jayhawks. Wide receiver Ryan King made a smart decision. He went to the East Carolina Pirates, win a national championship over there. Linebacker Demetrius Knight is in the portal. Patty C, I believe I have rattled off everyone they have lost. Now here's what they gained. First, they went out to the fine institution of Duquesne to get wide receiver Abdul Jana. He actually was pretty good at Duquesne. So who knows if he can come in and be somebody. Chase Lane, wide receiver from Texas A&M.
Well, that's supposedly the weak point of their offense coming in is the wide receiver position. So getting 2 right off the bat.
There you go. Chase Lane
filling it up.
Then they bring in Haynes King, who at one point Jimbo Fisher was so excited about him being the quarterback for Texas A&M. He gets injured in a game in Denver against the Colorado Buffaloes. I think it was week 2. He's out for the season. And he's really struggled ever since then. But this is a talented recruit at A&M. Maybe he can come in. We also got Rutgers linebacker Austin Dean, South Florida tight end Jackson Long, Louisville running back Travion Cooley, and he's penciled in to be the starter day 1. And they play Louisville day 1. So intriguing there. Wide receiver Christian Leary, no relation to Dennis. He is at Alabama, or comes over from Alabama. It's like, we give you Jahmyr Gibbs, give us Christian Leary next year. All right.
I think Georgia Tech loses that trade.
Yeah. They also got Andre White Jr., a linebacker from Texas A&M. So 3 kids from Texas A&M,
nice.
1 from Bama, 1 from Rutgers, 1 from Louisville. They're getting these P5 guys, Patty C. Then after that, they get Minnesota linebacker Braylon Oliver, Charlotte offensive lineman Jordan Brown, Clemson defensive lineman Itanosa Rubin, Georgia tight end Brett Seither, I think it is. Wide receiver Dominic Blaylock also comes over from the Georgia Bulldogs. They're going to be playing Georgia on the schedule, obviously. And then they get South Florida defensive lineman Eddie Kelly to transfer in. And Kansas State cornerback Omar Daniels transfers in, Patty C. And then last but not least, safety Justin Brown from Mississippi State. Who knows if these guys can go, but damn, that's a lot of Power 5 talent they brought in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, depending on, obviously the biggest name outgoing or incoming to me is Jeff Sims. As far as relevance to Georgia Tech and what they've been doing. I'm sure he's got a ton of familiarity with whatever Key's doing there.
Yeah.
But he didn't put up insane numbers last year. What do you have? A 1,500 or 1,100 passing
he was
yards.
injured too.
Yeah, 7 games, 1,100 passing yards, but still 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He did have almost 300 rushing yards, so they're going to lose the a little bit of the dual threat factor. Although Zach Pyron was able to run the ball too, so I don't know.
Run the ball out of bounds.
Hello, yeah, that's true. I don't know that they lost any, pivotal pieces to their offense.
I see Haynes King is penciled in as the starter.
Okay.
Right? I would rather have Jeff Sims than Haynes King, but hey, maybe I'm wrong here.
Hey, I mean, with Jimbo Fisher running that archaic offense at A&M, maybe Haynes King looks a lot better in Georgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Georgia Tech.
They have 3 guys back with starting experience. Haynes King from A&M, Zach Pyron, how do I pronounce that?
I don't know.
I don't even remember. Zach Gibson also, who started some games at Akron. So they go 3 deep on guys that have started games. Trey Cooley penciled in to be the starter at running back. They only returned 5 offensive starters from a year ago. So the wide receiver core completely brand new. Blaylock from Georgia, Leary from Bama, Lane from A&M, all penciled in to be starters. Tight end Luke Benson is back. You got to like that. They also have Dylan Leonard there. So you got that offensive line. They returned 4 of 5, Patty C.
Yeah.
They got both tackles coming back in Jordan Williams and Jakaya Leftwich. They also have the center Weston Franklin. Those are the most important positions. Yes, left guard Joe Fusilli is back as well.
I'm seeing at least all 5 have at least 5 starts. I don't know if that qualifies as a starter though. So that's a ton of returning experience on the offensive line. It's going to help both running and passing the ball. And this team has a balanced approach. What were their final rankings on offense?
Ass.
No,
I'm joking. I actually, what were their final rankings on offense? I don't even know that I actually had that. For some reason, I think I forgot to.
It's passing or scoring 124, terrible. Rushing 90th, passing 108, and total 114. So 90th rushing, 108 passing. I guess that means they lean on the run a little bit. But whatever.
And half that was, who knows the numbers when Key came in as opposed to not.
The offense was just ass, but 4 returning starters on the offensive line is generally going to help trend in the right direction.
And the new OC is
Buster Faulkner.
And you know who's on this staff, right?
Oh,
they have co-OC, right?
Yeah, co-OC.
Go ahead.
Chris Winkie, baby.
Chris Winkie, the original Stetson Bennett. Right. Man, folks. This guy was he won a natty, right? Yeah, he won beat Virginia Tech, right? Was that him?
Yeah.
Yep. Beat Virginia Tech. He was 37 years old. So now he's definitely 74 years old. Patty C, what do you think of this offense in general?
I don't know. I mean, I have to see more. Dante Smith as the leading returning rusher. He's projected as the starting running back. We double. He had 500 or 420 rushing yards. I think
Cooley is going to be the starter. Actually,
Cooley is.
Smith will be in there too, but I think it's going to be Cooley as the starter, the Louisville transfer.
Well, it seems like they're down to the throat of the running backs quite a bit. Both Hassan Hall and Dante Smith had considerable receptions. I want to say they're the number 2 and 3 receivers in terms of receptions on actually the number 2 and number 5. Dante Smith close though, 19 and 23 receptions. So is this a check down kind of offense? Are they just, trying to
maybe, I mean, with the old quarterbacks, if King can be better throwing down the field, perhaps. Yeah. Perhaps it's better.
Are we watching a Pittsburgh Maulers offensive attack?
Yes, we might. So the defensive side of the ball, and defensive coordinator is
the fullback slant is the key to the offense.
Subscribe to the USFL Gambling Podcast, folks. Defensive coordinator. Andrew Thacker. It's 5th year as DC. Patty C. They also added an assistant, a co-DC, and Kevin Scherner. Just loading up guys. They do return 7 on the defensive side of the ball. 3 out of 4 on the defensive line. And like I said, they add Ruben, the transfer from Clemson. They also got another kid there that I can't pronounce his last name. What do I pronounce this as? Jan Juin. That might be able to be starting there as well. But they return Marcus Scott, Daquan Doucet, and Kevin Harris on the defensive line. That's a good thing for them. Now, linebacking core is pretty much brand new. Andre White, the A&M transfer, is one that I think is going to be there getting after it. Secondary does return some key pieces. Miles Sims, Clayton Powell, Lee at the free safety spot, LaMiles Brooks at the strong safety spot, all back Patty C.
Very nice.
What do you make of this defense? You think it'll be improved? It seems like when you return that many starters, they'll be better just off of just the fact that they've been playing together and they'll be back.
How many is that? That's seven starters. Is it scoring defense 83, rushing 107, passing 46, and overall 84.
84th in total.
A lot to a lot of room for growth, but passing 46, the upper better half of the nation, and with passing defense, and it looks like 3 out of 4 in the secondary are back. So yeah, maybe they got some ball hawks back there shutting down the passing lanes, and we'll see about.
They got after it in the portal. Maybe some of those additions, Andre White coming at the linebacker spot, maybe that could be a big thing. Patty C.
I think the defense looks like the strength of this team coming into the year. Maybe they can get into some, these second tier teams, just like they did last year, whether it be North Carolina, I hate to say it, Miami.
They're second tier or third.
Well, they should be third tier, but like in terms of talent,
I'm just joking.
I think Florida State and Clemson are a tier above. I mean, Miami is supposedly right there, and North Carolina is supposedly right there. But on-field performance, I mean, you're right. North Carolina is usually a lot better than Miami these days.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Even still, they don't really stand a chance against the likes of Clemson or Florida State. I don't think, but maybe they can hang around and bite some of these next tier guys.
So kicker Gavin Stewart's back, punter David Shanahan's back. So kicking game. The kicking game. It's going to be sound. We're going to go game by game on the schedule. Talk about the Yellow Jackets season coming into 2023. We also have a visitor from Michael Barker, who's going to come on, aka College Football Campus Tour, and talk about Bobby Dodd. But before we do all that, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in their Best Ball Mania. Come on, folks. Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on your favorite MLB and NFL season player props. And once the college football season rolls along, we will have player props available by the time week 0 gets ready to kick. There's so many ways to win over at Underdog, and Underdog's available in so many different states. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. Patty C. Here we are back on the college football experience. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 2023 season preview. And folks, hopefully you're subscribed on YouTube, as I alluded to, youtube.com/the college experience. If so, you'll see the sweet ass graphic from the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Shout out to Cam Kerr. He's a Texas A&M grad. He knows about Haynes King and Andre White. So, and a few of those other transfers too. But anyway, he did this graphic. Shout out to him. Good job. And the win total is at 4.5 wins, Patty C. 4.5 wins.
That's got a smart for
blindly. What would you say? Over or under?
Under.
Even though he won 4 in what? How many weeks was that? 8
weeks last year. Yeah. I mean, the 3-1 start prior to that was, what was that last year? It was Clemson. Understandable loss.
Well, they unfortunately they get Clemson every year.
Yeah.
And they also get Georgia every year. That's not always fun when both programs are rolling.
Well, let me ask you this. Did he do any better than Jeff Collins did? Because
yes, he did.
No, because listen, Jeff Collins, 1-3 last year, lost by 31 to Clemson. Incomparable competition. Brent Key loses by 25 to Florida State, by 21 to Miami, and by 23 to
it's the
Georgia.
Ole Miss game though. Circle the Ole Miss game.
42-0. That was a bad one.
That was Jeff Collins. They lost 42-0. The team kind of quit on them. I feel like
that's when they quit. You think?
Yeah.
27 to 10, 17-point loss at UCF the following week. Yeah.
So you lean under. I gotta be honest. The first I heard of the number, I leaned under too, despite me thinking that Key is a better coach than Collins. Week 1, Patty C, for some stupid reason, and like I truly believe people should be fired for this decision. They are playing not at Bobby Dodd Stadium, where Georgia Tech should be hosting Louisville. They're playing at that ridiculous NFL bullshit game here at the Falcon Stadium. What's it called? Mercedes-Benz Stadium or some shit like that. This stadium sucks. And this game sucks that they moved it there. I enjoyed this game.
It had been scheduled as a home game.
Yeah, to Bobby Dodd.
So now they have 6 home games and 1 neutral site game in Atlanta.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And 5 road games.
This stadium not only has red seats, it's Jeff Brom's first game, and I do believe he's got the state of Kentucky, any Louisville fans buying in. I think they might show up to that big ass roller rink in Atlanta to watch this football game.
It's a good time to get him though. Good time to get Jeff Brom.
I got Louisville fucking them up.
Week 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if Louisville's going to fuck them up, but
he brings in Jack Plummer, knows the offense for 4 years.
I'm not nearly as confident as you are in this game, but I guess I'll lean Louisville.
I got Louisville. Week 2, South Carolina State comes into town. South Carolina State does have a week 0 matchup, so it'll be their 3rd week, I believe, as they get Charlotte, I believe, in the opener, and then Georgia Tech. Patty C, I'll give this one to Brent Key.
Sure.
But South Carolina State won the Celebration Bowl just 2 years ago. Just saying.
That's true. Which is in Atlanta. They have
they play at this filthy stadium, and that no football should ever be played here, but for some reason they do.
Well, the South Carolina State games at Bobby Dodd, so
oh yeah,
they play down the
true.
street.
Yeah.
But still, Atlanta, they're no strangers to winning big games there.
1-1.
Yeah.
Now they head to Oxford, Mississippi. Hotty toddy.
Lane train.
This is going to be an ass whooping.
Yes.
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Now they have back-to-back away. They head to Winston-Salem to take on Dave Clawson. I think they lose this. I got them 1 and 3.
Maybe they have a better chance without Sam Hartman there.
I don't think so. I think this is quarterback proof. I think this system.
I would say Wake is.
Remember, Griffith started the whole month of September a season ago.
I'm curious what that series has been. Let me pull that up real quick. But either way, this is actually one of their more played rivals of all time. Actually, that's not true. I'm just looking at the wrong thing. Recently, Wake Forest is winners of 3 in a row and 5 of the last 6.
Yeah, they're not winning that. Yeah. Clawson is too good. He's got that program rolling. 1 and 3, and then the Bowling Green Falcons, who made a bowl game last year, and what they beat Minnesota. Was it last year or the year before?
No, I'm wrong about that. Actually, Georgia Tech winners of the last 3 and 5 of the last 6. I was looking at.
Oh, but when's the last time they played?
2017.
Yeah, so that's ridiculous. By the way.
Yeah.
Clawson, what did he come in 16? So they only played Clawson once.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm still taking Wake Forest.
Okay. I'm in.
So 1 and 3, and now the Bowling Green Falcons and Scotty Leffler, your boy. They went to a bowl a year ago, Patty C. Who are you taking here? Remember the last time a MAC school came to take on Georgia Tech, Northern Illinois went down there at Bobby Dodd and won.
I think you got to be careful if you're Georgia Tech. Take this game seriously, but I am giving it to the Yellow Jackets.
I will too. 2 and 3, and then they head to Busch Gardens. Miami Gardens to take on the Hurricane. No one will be at this game, but give me Miami to win this. Patty C, you?
It's a pretty good series all time. 14-13 in Miami's favor. Miami winners of the last 2. I'm gonna go Miami.
Okay, yeah. So that puts us at 2 and 4. The win total's at 4.5. This is the bye week on October 14th. Now they host. I see opportunity. 3 weeks in a row. They host Boston College. They host North Carolina for homecoming. They beat Carolina the past 2 years, Patty C. And then they head to Charlottesville to take on those Tiki Torch loving Wahoos. All right. 2 and 1
in that stretch.
Yeah. I don't know. Boston College could beat them too.
I think they could go 0 and 3 in that stretch.
No,
Virginia beat them last year.
That's unbelievable.
They did beat North Carolina last year. That's kind of also unbelievable. And they didn't play Boston College. I think you got to lean 2 and 1. Plus,
I'm going to go 2 and 1
because the Louisville game's closer in my mind. I think I give them one of those that is also a 50-50 game. So 2 and 1 there. So what do you got?
That's four wins. And how many losses there? What?
4 and 5.
4 and 5. And then they're at Clemson. Terrible.
6.
Home to the Qs. This is it. This is it.
Are we going over?
I'm taking Syracuse to win. Babers.
Brent Key. I don't want to dismiss, Georgia
No, I
Tech.
think Vegas got the number right. I think this is dead accurate. 4.5 is what I would set it at.
Yeah.
I lean under because I do think Boston College could beat them. I do think Syracuse could beat them. I wouldn't even be that shocked if Bowling Green beat them.
Let me tell you this. This is the team that prior to the arrival of Jeff Collins,
which was 4 years ago?
Yeah. Starting in 1997 is how far we have to go back. Paul Johnson had 2 losing seasons and then Jeff Collins, but never Paul Johnson only had 1 less than 5 wins, right? They've had prior to Jeff Collins 1997 to 2018. So what is that, like 21 years, with 5 or more wins?
Yeah.
20 out of 21 years. And then last year, 5 wins. I got them going over. I got them beating Syracuse.
Woo! Patty C's on the over with the Yellow Jackets. Buzz, sting, all that good stuff. I will take the under. I just don't know about the quarterback spot. I don't know if Haynes King is the answer. When I look back and see Jeff Sims, I trust it a little bit more.
Sure.
I will take the under on the Yellow Jackets, but look, I do think the number's right there. This is not a lock by any means to me, because I could see them. And Patty C is right, even though I am high on Brom. It is his first game at Louisville. We saw Brian Kelly lose last year, first game. So you see this happen. It's hard to sometimes forecast. So
Haynes King, by the way, most recent 2022 stats: 55% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So yeah, he's got to improve if Georgia Tech's going to be any good.
Got to improve, but look, who you need to check out is this interview I did with Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour. I had him on, so I'm going to play this right now. So with no further ado, here is that. Joining us on the College Football Experience, Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 2023 season preview episode is none other than Michael Barker, aka CFB Campus Tour. Guys, I'm just going to start from you got to follow the Twitter page. All right. At CFB Campus Tour. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience, you can watch this interview. But his Twitter page, this guy's been to every single FBS college football stadium. He's been to a ton of the FCS. He documents all of it on his Twitter account. And I just think he does great work. Does the photo of the day. If you're a college football fan, I highly recommend it. Michael, how you doing? And appreciate you coming on the show to talk a little Bobby Dodd.
I'm doing great. I appreciate the invite and the kind words. And we have a very historic, important stadium to talk about here, Bobby Dodd.
Yeah, I love this stadium. When you Google image this thing, man, I love this stadium. I think, Georgia Tech, I remember them winning a national championship in 1990, winning Orange Bowls with Paul Johnson. George Leary had them probably as like the second or third best team in the ACC for a little while there. I'd like to see them come back and get back to where they should be. And I know that you've been to this stadium, so tell me about the history and your experiences there.
So it is the oldest on-campus stadium in the entire FBS. It was built in 1913, but they started playing on the site in a rudimentary form back in 1905. Started out with only 7,000 capacity, and since then has expanded to 55,000. It's right in the middle of Midtown Atlanta. Just a unique campus location and stadium location right in the middle of a big major city. We don't get that maybe Vanderbilt. There's a couple other that are like that, but it's such a unique stadium, unique history. And one little nugget that we always like to throw out there, the biggest blowout in college football history happened at this stadium in 1916. Georgia Tech beat Cumberland 222-0. I'm sure everyone's seen that famous picture of the scoreboard running out of numbers to put on it.
I feel bad for the people that were playing fantasy football back then because I'm joking. Because you would have got destroyed if you played the players in that game. So that score is unbelievable. And I love this. I need them good again because I dig I always remember the Florida State game where they blocked the field goal, returned it back for a touchdown, the final play of the game. And I love the fact they bring that old school car on the stadium. I like the pageantry of what Georgia Tech's got going. So I hope they get it back going. How many times have you been to the stadium?
So I've been there for 2 games. The SC or the ACC plays a lot of weeknight games, and as a traveler, you're always trying to take advantage of games, especially Power 5 that are not played on a Saturday. So I went there back-to-back 2019, 2020. The best game I went to was in the midst of a bad year for Georgia Tech. They went 3-9 that year, but the Thursday night game I saw them play NC State. It rained like crazy. They were up 21-3 at half. They tried to give it away, but they pulled it out and they won 28-26. And for the people that stayed, they loved it. They enjoyed football. And again, you had a pretty big crowd for a Thursday night rainy game for a team that was well under 500. So kind of talking about building off what you're talking about as far as hoping they can get back into the upper echelons of the ACC. If you think back, like you said, when they won the national championship, they have that history and they have that ability. So hopefully Coach Key can continue to recruit well and get the Yellow Jackets pointed back in the right direction.
Amen, man. Georgia Tech needs to be good again. They need to be good again. I can't wait for them to get good again. And hopefully one day I'll catch you at a game at Bobby Dodd, man.
Yeah, this is another one prime candidate for 2 games in one day. We got Georgia State right there. Athens is about an hour and 20 minutes away. Columbia is not far away. So we talk about Atlanta being a big hub for college football, the SEC championship, the College Football Hall of Fame. So if you find yourself in Atlanta, you could catch many games, but hopefully a game at the oldest on-campus stadium in all of college football.
Amen. And play them at Bobby Dodd. I know week 1 they're at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's a bunch of nonsense. I want it at Bobby Dodd or between the hedges or, at Center Park with Georgia State. We support outdoor football, and so should you. You should support Michael Barker because I'm telling you, this guy does great work. If you love college football, it's a no-brainer. Go over there, follow him on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour. Thanks for hopping on the show, Michael, and have a wonderful day, man.
You too, Colby. Thank you very much.
All right, that was Michael Barker, Patty. See, Bobby Dodd, you got to love the stadium. You Google him, just think you see like the city backdrop. Oh, yeah. It's absolutely fantastic.
You're like in Central Park almost.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. That's what pisses me off though when they moved that shit to the Mercedes-Benz thing. It's like, dude, you have one of the coolest stadiums.
Yeah.
Utilize that. College football.
Give us the scenic backdrop. We don't want to see the inside of the dome. You can't pan up. We don't want to see a roof.
The problem is the TV execs don't know what college football is. There's a disconnect here. They don't know. They keep doing these games. They should connect with their best stadiums, the Sun Bowl, the Rose Bowl. At least they still do the Rose Bowl, but the Sun Bowl should be a playoff spot. Bobby Dodd's a great stadium. Athens, obviously, Sanford. They're going to be disgusted by me. Disgusted by me saying
admitting that,
yeah,
but it is a great stadium.
And I guess we didn't even highlight the fact that they had Georgia the final week of the season. Patty C. They probably want to know: are they gonna? Could they keep it close with the Bulldogs?
Getting him in Atlanta, maybe Brent Key has him a little bit. I mean, 37-14? Like you said, 23-point loss, somewhat respectable. I don't think Georgia is the type of team that would pump the brakes out of respect for Georgia Tech. I think them keeping it within 23 is just a sign that they were doing a pretty good job. So, maybe they get a little
back
closer.
To the days, dude. When I first started watching college football, they had Sean Jones, Dorsey Levens.
Oh yeah.
Marco Coleman, Rudolph. Who was the corner? Marcus Coleman. I think he ended up transferring to Texas Tech, but he was a stud corner. Willie Clay at safety, and then they went into the Joe Hamilton era with just some guys.
Look, I'm a Virginia Cavalier fan by from my childhood, and they've ripped our hearts out on a number of occasions. So even though I should
college
hate
football's
Georgia
better
Tech,
when Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech's a cool part. Let me say this, okay? Georgia has this set of games in a row prior to playing Georgia Tech. World's largest outdoor cocktail party, right? A Missouri team that they probably want to be focused on and get revenge for keeping it within 4 of last year. Hosting Ole Miss, right? Then a huge road trip to Tennessee, right? And then a back-to-back road situation at Georgia Tech. Maybe Georgia's just a little worn out for the Yellow Jackets. And
I like what's in that cup that you're sipping. Let's go, folks.
Hello.
Patty C's on the over. I'm on the under, but I'm rooting for Georgia Tech. I'm rooting for me to be wrong here because this will not be on the locks episode. So, folks, maybe I'll be wrong. All right.
Maybe they can end Georgia's dynasty.
Oh man, that would be great. Buzz, sting, all that good stuff. Guys, subscribe. Guys, girls, lads, aliens, whoever, subscribe to the College Football Experience because we break down all 133 teams. We do this we've been doing this shit for years, all right? So, and obviously we talk college football year round. We also host the FCS College Football Experience besides the regular College Football Experience. Subscribe to both those feeds. They're separate feeds. We also host the College Basketball Experience. Excited about the Damon Stoudemire era. And when college basketball season comes around, I will be here every single night of the college basketball season. So check out the College Baseball Experience as well. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Also check out the Sports Gambling Podcast, as I alluded to earlier. All right. We just did a great interview. Just had Joe Theismann on the show. Who else? We've had John Smoltz, Atlanta fans. There we go. Check out that Smoltz interview we did.
Boom.
So check out that and get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And come talk football with us. Georgia Tech plays some of those weekday games. We're always talking college football in our Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Even in the dog days of March, we're talking college football there. Hop on over there. And talk with us. And folks, until next time, this is the College Football Experience, Georgia Tech style. Buzz, sting. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking at